April 19th, the year 2019. Interesting day. Anyone have any insight on the meaning of April 19th? What is today? What's being celebrated today?
Patriots Day.
What's that?
Patriots Day, when the Revolutionary War began.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's Good Friday for those Catholics here. And
Passover.
yeah, but today is Good Friday. What does Good Friday represent or symbolize? We don't have any good Catholics here? It's the crucifixion of Christ. But a curious counterpoint, synchronicity, this year on Good Friday is what's called Bicycle Day. Anybody know what Bicycle Day is?
No.
There's one person here who's hip. It's the first time in our recorded history that a person, Albert Hoffman, decided to purposely take a hit of acid that he had designed in his own laboratory. So he takes this hit of acid and takes this memorable bicycle ride that completely altered the course of human history. Especially for many of us in this room, including myself. So we have this interesting contrast, and as I was driving in, had this remarkable omen of a double rainbow driving in toward Mount Shasta, and from coming in from north, the rainbow was right on Chai Shop.
Wow.
So we have this double rainbow with the Antakarana, the Rainbow Bridge, being a symbol of this Piscean portal that's been ongoing since my last talk at the end of March, of opening our hearts to the angelic realms, and through that angelic contact, realizing and experiencing a depth of love we had not known before. I went quite a bit into this in my last talk. So currently the moon is in Scorpio, will be for the next couple of days. And I associate the sign of Scorpio, particularly Neptune in Scorpio, with the crucifixion itself. So it's interesting that with Good Friday occurring today, this year, the moon is currently in Scorpio. And alongside that, Venus, about to enter Aries tomorrow morning at 9:11 a.m., is at the highest frequency or degree of Pisces, completing her contact with the angelic realm, with the higher order of love that opens potential for us realizing that beyond being loved or loving someone else in the human realm, once contact is made with your soul in the higher orders of love, you more deeply realize that you are love itself, expressing itself in the human dimension. So every contact or relationship or experience with other human beings is then an opportunity to explore the nature of that love that you are, rather than needing to be defined by another person's relationship to you. You then celebrate the love you share together. So, at the heart of the Christian mythology, the religious spirit we call Christianity, is the crucifixion phenomenon, Good Friday. I myself, in my early 20s, became a member of a Christian cult in Hawaii, and so I dove deeply into the Bible, which I'd never read before, and experienced the dark side of what I call the Christian religious spirit, where the crucifixion became a representation of the underlying need for our salvation. Because we, as an essential being, the essential core of ourselves was flawed, or is flawed. That's the heart of the modern Christian mythology. requiring a savior to make a living sacrifice that will enable or empower us to build that bridge to heaven, the Antakarana, and be embraced by the higher power. So the scorpionic influence of the Good Friday being experienced now, with Notre Dame having burned at the heart of French and European Christianity, is an interesting opportunity for us to experience the double rainbow and take a bicycle ride into the magical mystery tour of our own being, and break the spell of these religious spirits that have divided us against ourselves as a tactic to gain control over our soul. So with Venus now at her highest degree in Pisces, and Venus is connected with the mother goddess, who was present at the resurrection, at the crucifixion, the only person? Mary, okay. Because Venus at the highest octave of Pisces would represent Mary, supporting the transformation or initiation that Christ himself chose to experience. This was not something that was forced upon him. In my awareness, after I left the cult, my relationship with the person we call JC developed and deepened. It was only after I was freed of the religious spirit of Christianity that my true relationship with him then unfolded. And he, as my brother, revealed his own humanity to me, and his experience or process, the choice he made in order to take the initiation that perfected his love. So Mary saw that sitting at the foot of the cross and was there to support him in taking his initiation into the perfection of the love that he sought. So how could a crucifixion perfect your love? Any ideas about that?
Surrender. Maintain your love throughout such an experience.
There you go. You got it. He wanted to know how deeply anchored his commitment and experience in contact with a higher power was really anchored in his being. So he chose experiences throughout his initiation that would challenge that connection, because he himself did not know whether he could maintain the commitment under any and all circumstances. And he knew that he would not be free until he had gone through his own experience, the experiences required to confirm his own commitment to love without question. So when he was hanging there on the cross, what did he do?
Father, why have you forsaken me?
Yeah, that was kind of...
Father, bless them, for they know not what they do.
That's, yeah, but he's hanging there on the cross, kind of barely conscious, and he, rather than being consumed by his own experience, he turns to the guy next to him, who happened to be a thief, and says, "How are you doing?" He was more concerned with the welfare of his brother hanging next to him than he was with himself. I mean, he maintained that contact with the love that he is, even under the most extraordinary and challenging of circumstances. So this became, for me, through his own living example, a model for my own initiation experience. So anytime I was hitting the wall or tested, I said, compared to what JC went through, this is a piece of cake. And it really strengthened me and helped me navigate through some challenging circumstances. And I realized that I had called this circumstance or people into my world, just like JC did, to give me an opportunity to test the depth to which my love was anchored in the core of my being. So this gift that Venus at her highest frequency is giving us is a recognition of the depth of the love we've managed to incarnate, embody, as a living experience, not just within ourselves, but in relationship to all that we experience here, especially with the people that are close to us and most intimately bonded. Another level of initiation is what I call the realm of personal experience. And Venus takes that higher octave love, steps it down into the human realm. So we have another arena of initiation within which we can find out how deeply that love is anchored within our own being. As I've said many times before, it's easy to sit on the mountain and feel enlightened. Come down from the mountain and try living with one other person for a while, and you'll find out how deeply that love within you is anchored. Both in its yin, but also in its yang aspect. Many of us equate the experience of love with its yin aspect, but the yang aspect is also, as a balanced fulcrum, extremely important and powerful, where you become an active agent of that love in a commanding way. So how are you doing in your experience in your intimate relationships this month? Faced a few challenges?
Oh. Been in Aries.
Intimate relationships with ourselves or with others, or
Particularly those who are in intimate relationship with another person. Yeah. That's when you find out. That's kind of front lines work for me.
fine with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Fire
Starting
ourselves
my
is
career.
fine.
And you are married to yourself, so
Yeah.
that I can include that also. But the question I ask myself when I'm facing adversity, or I call adversity to myself, is can I love my way through this? Let's see, brother. Let's see if you can love your way through this one. And that also includes, like I said earlier, the yang aspect of love, where I need at times to take commanding control of a potentially harmful situation and speak loud and clear and establish a healthy boundary, knowing that I am perfectly required to love myself as deeply as I love another. And if I don't love and respect myself, then I cannot truly love and respect another. So with Venus about to shift into Aries tomorrow, the active phase of that expression of the love we've been experiencing, that we are that love, is now grounding back into the physical plane, the world, as an active manifesting force, an inspirational power that propels us forward into active expression of that love. Mercury has also already entered Aries, so many of you have been feeling like your voices cannot be silenced any longer, and that you have to take the fire in your belly and express it in a healthy and conscious way. The background of the Aries, the ground upon which Aries stands, is Pisces. It emerges from the Piscean portal of inspiration. So the more deeply you've been inspired, touched by the divine, touched by the greater power within you of that love, the more you'll feel propelled in Aries to move out into the world as an agent, a messenger. Mercury in Aries, the divine messenger of the love that you are, with actions that are required by that love. And this is the yang aspect. It shifts from the yin aspect of love to the yang aspect of love, which is conscious, constructive action. Aries, Mars. And Venus shifting into Aries, then also the women really being empowered to become an active agent for that love being shared and expressed in the world. So I was watching for omens or opportunities during this last month for this divine portal being activated. And right in the middle of it, Notre Dame caught fire. And Mercury being in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces can be the call to prayer, a challenging event, a destined event that drives everyone to their knees in a way in which they go vertical and call out to the higher power in active prayer. So the entire world was galvanized, regardless of their religious orientation, around this symbol of this greater contact with the higher power to examine and deepen their own experience of what it means to be compassionate and unified as an act of prayer with others who have suffered a great loss. So in your own lives, you may have had people around you or you yourself experience a great loss that drove you to your knees. And this is an act of intervention by the higher power to give you the opportunity to reorient vertically. When the horizontal is no longer giving you the feedback or support you feel you need, or has disappointed you in some way, then the only way and means through which you gain your equilibrium is by dropping to your knees and going vertical. So these signature events, both globally and personally, have been the Spirit's attempt or intent to get your attention. And the Spirit's quite ruthless about getting your attention. So until we finally drop to our knees and says, help, what are you trying to show me or reveal within myself as a more permanent foundation in my being upon which I can find that sense of security. That which is removed as your temporary source of security, once it is removed, then there's a drive deeper into the heart of your being to make access or connection with the ground of your being that's solid, that's immovable, that cannot be affected or fundamentally shaken by the shifting events around you in the horizontal plane. How many of you feel like you found a solid ground, the solid ground of your being? We have a few hands raised here. So those who have become like the eye of the hurricane. And regardless of how hard or fast the winds blow, you have that stillness, that still point to refer to or reference within you. So tonight is like a really profound, heightened gifting from the higher power of the great contact with the Antakarana, the angelic orders, and the source itself, as a graduation point to the inspiration that will then drive us forward from tomorrow onward, with Venus having entered Aries. There's a very special window here because tomorrow also the sun will shift into Taurus on the same day. The sun has been in Aries since April 21st, or March 21st, and been looking to Mars as his guide. So once he shifts into Taurus, who becomes his guide?
Venus.
Venus, right. And Venus herself will shift into Aries the same day, but the sun in Taurus shifts into Taurus at 1:55 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So from 1:55 onward, he's looking to Venus as his guide, and she will be in the last remaining minutes of Pisces until 9:11 a.m. So this is a very, very unusual portal, which makes it even more unusual because who else is Venus guiding right now? Uranus, right? Uranus and Taurus. So, as I mentioned in my last talk, Venus is particularly powerful throughout the next 7 years, particularly when she changes sign. So all of this dreaming of a more heightened connection to the natural world, the way of beauty, the beauty way, Taurus. Venus being Uranus's guide, she will be in the highest frequency of Pisces, connected with the angelic realm. The sun then is looking to her as his guide now, from 1:55 a.m. till 9:11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, when Venus finally shifts into Aries, it's like the sun picks up this highest frequency of inspiration and love and contacted, like these two double rainbows, connected with the higher world, the angelic realms, on the verge of Venus then taking an active role in moving forward into the horizontal with great enthusiasm, Aries, and courage. So most of you will most likely be experiencing this in the dream time, but for those who want to do some special ceremony from 1:55 a.m. to 9:11, you may be in conscious contact with the higher world in a way that might surprise you. Okay? And Venus shifts into Aries with Mars then in Gemini in mutual reception to Mercury. Mercury ruling Gemini, Mercury in Aries ruled by Mars. Then Venus will start picking up that active energy to go out in the world and have your voice and message spread. It's also interesting to me that during this Piscean portal, Naomi Klein and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez created this beautiful video or mini movie called A Message from the Future. If you haven't seen it, it has all the elements of what I've been imagining would start taking center stage for the last 10, 15 years now, to turn this giant ship of civilization with a collective focus on the Earth and contact consciously with Earth-centered or Earth-related communities in ways of reorganizing or reinventing the world. Uranus is always connected with reinventing a particular aspect of the world of our own being. AOC, as people call her, is a member of the Pluto and Scorpio generation. She's born in '89. The Pluto and Scorpio generation is basically from '83 to '95. And they are the generation of the apocalypse, apocalyptic thinking. The first generation to really become aware of the possible global apocalypse that's being manifest now through what we call the climate crisis. So they have grown up with this inner gut feeling that the world is about to transform in a profoundly irreversible way. The first stage of the Pluto-Scorpio generation is apocalyptic, where they see no future. The second phase of the Pluto and Scorpio generation is the resurrection phase, where they realize that they have the personal power and collective power to take control of their own destiny and remake the world, transform it. So I watched AOC go through this process in this short film. It's like, whoa, what did I just see here? And then the Pluto and Sagittarius generation, which many of the people watching this from '95 to 2008 are the ones picking it up and spreading the word. Who's that Norwegian young Greta Thunberg? She's a member of the Pluto and Sagittarius generation, and she's the one who started organizing her school at 13 to walk out and protest and to bring climate change and the need for climate change to worldwide attention. And this little girl, 13 years old, all the schoolmates with her, walked out and refused to go to school for a day to get this message out. And it just started catching on worldwide. She's speaking at the UN now, and many, many other school-aged children, Pluto and Sagittarius generation, are picking up this message and taking action, because it's their futures that are at stake. They look forward, beyond 2050. We don't. Many of us don't look beyond 2050 because we're possibly going to be off the planet by then. But these young children are saying, this is our future. beyond 2050, we need to take action now. And this is what's being picked up by this younger generation. In this particular film, A Message from the Future, really is like, I was like amazed at all the key phrases that emerged that I was waiting to hear on a public level as an opportunity for the entire human race to reorganize itself and find a common destiny. And this is it's a real hopeful sign to me. So and just yesterday, I believe, was the official launch of the Sunrise Movement, and which is the active organization promoting this particular message. And as usual, as expected, the conspiracy theories are just like, firing on all cylinders around this person, AOC, and the movement behind her. But I would imagine or expect that to happen. But this is like the first clarion call for the next 7 years that I feel will give at least the human race a collective opportunity to find their soul and organize around a common destiny, to engage the incredible wealth and genius and soul potential of the human race itself in rising to this occasion. So I'm really hopeful now that this is emerging. So has anyone seen that little short clip, that movie, Message from the Future? What did you think, Glenn?
I was thinking on the New Deal, the Green New Deal, they were both during Uranus and Taurus.
Yeah.
And it's just a repeat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did go into that on Democracy Now. They went into the parallels between the New Deal and the Green New Deal, and how artists actually played a very big role in the 30s to spread the message. And what sign rules artists? Taurus. Our beauty of artwork. The Pisces is connected with musicians, and the extraordinary uplifting spiritual experience we have with music. But the actual physical creation of art, the beauty way, is Taurus.
What about Libra?
Libra is more the beauty of human relationship, but the physical creation of objects of beauty. Taurus is the beauty way. And during the New Deal, the artists were the ones who played a big role in promoting the entire idea of the New Deal. And the artists now around the world are beginning to pick up this mantle of the beauty way. And another element of this particular message from the future was right livelihood. Taurus is connected with right livelihood, our conscious and purposeful relationship to the earth around us. Taurus is also connected with the earth herself as a living being. So much of this positive message is now being surfacing as an opportunity for us to be hopeful, is the tremendous economic opportunity of the inventiveness connected with alternative energy, and creating new ways of being with the earth that offer new job opportunities, new ways of making ourselves useful, of finding right livelihood. It's one of the 8 members of the Eightfold Path. Is that right?
Buddhist precepts, right livelihood. It's one of the tenets of the Eightfold Path.
Yeah, the Eightfold Path. That's what I was thinking. And so Uranus and Taurus would emphasize that one of the 8 petals of the Buddhist path, right livelihood. So many of us have been challenged in finding right livelihood. Right livelihood is defined by being in service to the world around you in harmony with your soul's intent, your soul's purpose. When you feel that you are active means of serving others, of providing benefit to others, is in alignment with your own soul's purpose, then that's a signal of your having found the path of right livelihood. Did you have anything to say about right livelihood as a part of that path?
The connection between source and yourself is basically the realization that we are creators.
Mm-hmm.
The outside influences are only what we perceive them to be. We create our own reality.
Mm-hmm.
So the alignment of the planets and the fold of the universe is basically dependent upon our perception of what's going on within ourselves. We don't take what's going on around us and think that that's a perception of what's going to happen. What's going on around you is dependent upon what's in your extended outwards, not the opposite way around.
So specifically related to right livelihood, that the insight is that we are the creators of our own reality, and we have the power to create a livelihood that really supports ourselves, sustains us, as well as sustaining others in alignment with our soul. So many of us have this inventive genius within us to create whole new arenas of employment or livelihood that will be of great benefit to not just yourself, but to the community at large and the world as a whole. And this awakening to putting the earth as our focus and reinventing civilization itself so that it aligns more harmoniously with the physical environment around us creates opportunities to create all kinds of new forms of right livelihood. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this message particularly emphasizes, and I wholeheartedly support. So any questions at this point or comments?
Eric, that portal you're talking about, which night was that? The 1:55 to...
It's starting tonight. Just 1:55 a.m. tonight, early Saturday morning, to 9:11 a.m. Saturday morning.
Any advice for Scorpios?
Find a partner and do some tantra with her. Or with him. Whatever your choice is, I don't know. Okay, Mars. So I already mentioned Mars is going out of bounds, and without getting too technical, when a planet goes out of bounds beyond the latitude of the sun or declination of the sun, it's kind of it's on a free for all in its own nature. It's no longer bound by the rules of society. And Mars in Gemini, we're going to have, as most of you may know, the Mueller report was just released, and the talking heads are just going overboard through the middle of June, and so it'll be a free for all. But the biggest shift with some feeling the heaviness kind of bearing down upon them is that Pluto and Saturn are virtually at a standstill now, about to go retrograde. And Pluto goes retrograde on the 24th, that's next Wednesday, and then Saturn on the 29th of April. So they're basically retrograding at the same time, very close to conjunction with one another, about 3 degrees separated. Saturn hasn't quite reached Pluto yet. It won't until January of 2020. And this Saturn ruling Capricorn, conjunct Pluto as his guide in January, is the first time this has happened in 500 years. Pluto has a 250-year cycle. So he was in Capricorn about 250 years ago during the American Revolution. But Saturn wasn't in Capricorn at the same time. So Saturn missed that conjunction with Pluto in his own sign in the last cycle. And we have to go back to 1518 when there was the last Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. Anyone know what was significant in terms of one petty tyrant culture imposing their ideals on another in around that time? Somebody know American history?
Spain invading North and South America.
Yeah, Cortez, as I mentioned earlier, Alexander Ocasio-Cortez has the same last name as Hernando Cortez. And in 1519, Saturn-Pluto conjunctions govern about a 13-year cycle. So the year after the first, that's Capricorn Saturn-Pluto conjunction, Cortez basically demolished the Aztec civilization, imposing the culture of sorcery represented by Spain and the Western world, and particularly the Catholic Church, upon an indigenous culture. And then also, within that period, Pizarro then kind of wiped out the Inca and imposed Catholic religious ideology on the Incan rulers. So this particular approaching Saturn-Pluto conjunction, Saturn already being in Capricorn, and what makes this even more unusual is that both Saturn and Pluto have their south nodes in Capricorn. This wasn't, I don't know how fast the nodes of these two planets progressed, so I'm not sure whether they were actually in Capricorn in 1518. You know whether, yeah. And right now, this month, the lunar nodes are also combining with Saturn and Pluto's south node. Saturn and Pluto sitting on their own south node. It's quite a remarkable time for those in power being called to account. So whenever I see a window of opportunity globally, I watch how events that are symbolic of that opportunity emerge. So for me, the most significant event that's just emerged is the Mueller report. Not in detail, it's not about Trump, but it's about the idea or the experience of those who have influence over others, who are given and graced with power and influence, being called to account. And through their example, not just the United States or our present culture being called to account, but the entire history of Western civilization. Thousands of years, the south nodes in Capricorn, of the very foundation upon which particularly Western culture has been built, reaching an apex and a pinnacle now, demonstrating fundamental flaws that are crying for transformation, that need to then it's like the Notre Dame Cathedral being set on fire, revealed what within its structure was sound enough to be rebuilt upon. And there's the opportunity then to rebuild that beautiful structure in a very inventive way, but knowing how to remodel the opportunity in a more conscious and purposeful way, in a constructive way, so that it can last into the future, to be more sustainable, and engage our creative intelligence. So how does this reflect back into our personal lives? Well, Capricorn and Saturn are always connected to our standing within the community, our ability to rise to our full potential and leave a legacy, a mark upon the community and the world around us. So whenever Capricorn is activated in your chart, you are being motivated to rise to your full height, to your adult stature. Capricorn is the adult in the room. Any of you have Capricorn emphasized You may not like it, but you're always called to be the adult in the room. And set things in order. And rise to your full height and realize your greatest accomplishments are the result of many lifetimes of experience culminating in a certain form of mastery that's specific to you, that only you can bring. Okay. So this Capricorn emphasis, since 2008 with Pluto in Capricorn, we've all been challenged to rise to our adult nature or adult stature, find our spine, Capricorn, our skeletal structure, which allows us to rise to our full height and be commander-in-chief of our own reality. As this brother mentioned earlier, that we are the creators of our own reality, and that we are uniquely positioned then to be in command of that particular gift that we've been given, that stewardship we've been given, starting with ourselves, and the stewardship over a task or medicine we've been blessed to carry. Anyone who's been given a business or a center, the chai shop, it's a stewardship. And Capricorn relates to the stewardship and how that stewardship is actually honored and respected. And then the legacy or the impact you leave beyond your own lifetime as a result of that stewardship being mastered with impeccability as a father would to its own children. Capricorn is connected to the father power. Here's someone here, Sophia, who has a lot of Capricorn in her chart, so she takes her stewardship seriously, right? Even though she's the mother power, there's a stewardship quality that those with strong Capricorn really express in their lives. So wherever Capricorn falls in your chart, that's where you're being called to rise to your full potential. Be the adult in the room and take command of your own reality. And this emphasis on Capricorn through 2020, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and then Jupiter entering Capricorn at the end of this year, will really give us all the opportunity to find the adult within ourselves. With Pluto and Saturn stationing retrograde, it's saying, okay, we've made the attempt, we've moved forward into the world to take command of our own reality. And we've reached a sort of a limit of that outward expression. And now we understand the nature of the homework required to shore up or deepen our inner mastery, so that once they go direct toward the end of the year, we can then enter or boost the level of manifestation in the outer mastery of our particular gift or talent. And so it's interesting that this Mueller report is coming out now with that inner process of what true integrity entails and what right use of power entails is really being called into question over the summer, over the spring and the summer. So we can watch how these outer events become a reflection of our own personal opportunity in our own lives, and watch how it unfolds. So Venus, this is a particularly important transit. She'll really catch fire in her belly starting tomorrow through May 15th. And on May 15th, she enters her own sign of Taurus. So that, wow, the beauty way really becomes a powerful manifest movement on the planet. So with the Sun entering Taurus tomorrow, he will then quickly combine with Uranus. Let's see, on Monday. So quite the dramatic shift. Have many of you been feeling like you've been on an acid trip for the last month? You're just kind of like out of it, not quite clear, how to manifest in this world? Well, it started with Mercury entering Aries on the 16th of that was Tuesday. We had the full moon earlier this morning with the moon at the last degree of Libra and now in Scorpio. And then Venus shifting into Aries tomorrow morning, Saturday morning at 9:11 a.m. Now, if anyone pays attention to symbology, what does 9/11 remind you of? So that's on the West Coast, though. Do you have a question?
Observations. Two more
Observations.
things that are pumping
Yeah.
up Venus is Bailey considers Venus the esoteric ruler of Capricorn, and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So that's bumping it up. Plus, we just had the blue moon in Libra, the second Libra moon.
Right.
So that's been
Yeah.
pumping it up. And the day before it moves into
Yeah.
Aries.
And Libra is ruled by Venus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened since 1924.
Wow. Okay. And Uranus wasn't in Taurus in 1924.
No, it was later.
Was it? That was in the 30s.
30s.
So, with the added weight of Venus and Taurus, with Uranus looking to Venus as his guide, this is a particularly important period of time. Yeah. Blessings. So the Sun conjunct Uranus starting tomorrow morning will pick up that Uranian energy quite quickly. And we may be kind of surprised at how quickly the energy shifts toward being grounded now into the world around us. So the way is clear for us to become an active expression, an inspired messenger of the love that we are. Many of us have been impregnated on levels that we can't even comprehend, particularly in the dream time. And when you have been impregnated in the Piscean portal, you do feel just spacey, like something is just, something's going on, but you have no idea, because the feelings that are just so out of body that you're not consciously able to make any sense out of it. And those of us who are awakened understand the nature of that walking between the worlds as a period of impregnation that then will manifest and make itself known and clear as the energy shifts into Aries and the outer expression of that impregnation becomes apparent as an inspiring force. So when I'm in a Piscean portal, I know I'm just like almost Mr. Magoo. I'm just listening. I'm just in a vertical position and allowing the love that's impregnating me to penetrate into the core of my being, without even needing to understand its nature. But then it's opportunity to present it, to express it with others that are on a deep feeling level. So this Sun-Uranus conjunction, because Uranus is at the early stages of Taurus, can be quite a remarkable lightning and thunder activation. We got a little lightning and thunder today, which is very Uranian in its nature. They can strike out of the blue, and before you know it, you're on your way. And you're in that manifestation phase that you've been waiting for. It's like the real springtime energy now is finally coming in. So tonight is an extraordinary opportunity to take advantage of the magic of the last degrees of this Piscean portal. Any other questions or comments?
Should we commemorate Bicycle Day in any particular way?
What's that?
That's your answer?
Should we commemorate Bicycle Day in any particular way?
Do you have a bicycle? If anybody has an extra hits of acid, just start passing them around. Now the Piscean portal itself, you don't even need to take any substances. You just feel like you're on an acid trip. Yeah, on May 6th, Mercury enters Taurus, so he starts looking to Venus as his guide, and he then will conjunct Uranus on the 8th. So we have a very active gathering potential in starting in May to really spread the message and get connected with others, particularly artists who doing collective projects to leave a marked impression upon the world as an awakening influence. And so that's our opportunity for May. And May will be the United States of America's 1 month, so things really get moving for the United States. It's a very active month. The new moon will be on Saturday, May 4th, in Taurus, another Venusian portal. And then the full moon, the actual full moon in Scorpio will be on the 18th of May. And that's the Wesak moon. It'll be on Saturday, the 18th of May. That will be a culmination of this initiatic process that empowers us then to really feel confident in having at least the first glimmer, if we haven't already found right livelihood. And that right livelihood is connected with others of our own kind, our soul groups, so that we can become more proactive in building a better tomorrow, a more ingeniously created collective tomorrow. And that's all emerging quite dramatically in May. Any other questions? Let me just take one last look here.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What about question of stability or ease of movement? Like, I'm going to be looking for a house, a place to live next, and how easy is it going to be in this coming period to stabilize?
That would depend on your chart. I'd have to take a look at your chart.
Okay.
But more and more so, I feel like we're going to realize that our true stability and security is in connection with the community around us, and our feeling that we are in the right place. You know, if you're not in the right community or the right place on earth, then your manifesting ability is diminished. If you're in a power spot that's true to your nature, doors just open. So many times when doors start closing in a certain area, it's saying that you have been completed in that power spot, and then another more appropriate power spot is calling. So if you have a difficulty in having doors open here, listen to where you're being directed. Another power spot may be calling.
Thank you.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Double rainbow tonight. Wow, that's just beautiful. Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I'd let an acquaintance or a friend
Mhm.
borrow your bike.
Yeah.
Some people don't have bikes, so they're just riding their bike. So they'll get that.
Well, the important part of that story is that he dropped a hit of acid
Oh yeah.
first, and then chose to ride the back bike.
Well,
So if you, when you drop your hit of acid,
transportation, hey.
you might be directed to do something completely different.
I'm hurting out.
Okay, much love.